It started on a night that felt no different from any other. The kind of night where the world outside your window is silent, where even the wind seems to have decided to hold its breath. The digital clock on my nightstand glowed a dull red in the darkness. 3:17 a.m. I remember that time clearly because something in me knew, the moment I saw it, that it would never leave me. I hadn't woken up because of a nightmare. There was no racing heart, no sudden jolt, no image still clinging to my mind. I simply opened my eyes slowly, as if something had called me back from sleep without making a sound. At first, everything seemed normal. My room was exactly as it always was. The faint outline of my wardrobe against the wall, the soft square of moonlight on the floor where the curtains didn't quite meet, the ceiling fan above me completely still. Then I heard it, breathing, slow, deep, wet, in a way that made my stomach tighten. It wasn't my own. I lay there frozen, listening. The sound was steady, rhythmic, as if someone were sleeping. But the source wasn't beside me. It wasn't in the hallway. It wasn't outside the window. It was below me, under the bed. At first, my mind tried to protect me. It told me it was just the house settling, or air moving through the vents, or maybe the faint echo of my own breath bouncing off the walls. But I had lived in that room for years. I knew every sound it made, the way the floorboards creaked when someone walked past, the soft ticking the pipes made when the water cooled, the low hum of distant traffic that sometimes drifted in through the night. This was none of those. This was too close, too alive. I held my breath. The sound under the bed stopped. For a long, terrible second, the silence was absolute. No breathing, no movement, nothing. Then slowly, carefully, it began again. In, out, in, out, perfectly in sync with my own. My chest tightened. I hadn't realized I had started breathing again, but whatever was beneath the bed had known. It had waited and then matched me, as if listening for the rhythm of my lungs and copying it. A cold wave of fear washed over me. I wanted to move. I wanted to sit up, to swing my legs off the mattress, to turn on the light and laugh at myself for being scared of nothing. But I couldn't. My body felt locked in place, as if the weight of the darkness itself was pinning me down. Every muscle was tense, yet useless. The breathing continued, slow, patient. So close I could almost feel it against the underside of the mattress. I tried to tell myself it wasn't real, that my mind was playing tricks on me in that fragile space between sleep and waking, that if I just closed my eyes again, everything would go back to normal. But then, it changed. The rhythm shifted. It was still copying me, but now there was something else layered beneath it. A faint, almost inaudible sound, like lips parting, as if it were preparing to speak. My heart began to pound, loud enough that I was sure it could hear it. I imagined something down there, pressed against the darkness, listening to every beat, every tiny movement, learning me. And then it whispered, not loud, not clear, just enough to be unmistakable. It said my name. The sound of it wasn't quite right. The voice was thin, stretched, as if the word were being pulled through a throat that didn't often shape human sounds. My eyes burned with the effort of keeping them closed. Every instinct screamed at me not to look, not to acknowledge it, not to give it the satisfaction of knowing it had my attention. The breathing paused again. Then the voice came once more, closer this time, right beneath my head. You're not supposed to be awake. The words were slow, deliberate, as though it were choosing them carefully, testing how they felt in its mouth. A sharp, icy fear spread through my chest. I wanted to scream, I wanted to kick, I wanted to run. But the only thing I could do was lie there listening to the sound of something that knew I was awake and didn't like it. Minutes passed, or maybe seconds. Time had lost its meaning. Eventually, the breathing faded. The pressure beneath the bed seemed to withdraw, as if whatever was there was sinking back into the shadows. I lay there until the first hint of dawn crept into the room, too terrified to move, too afraid that the moment I did, it would return. When the sunlight finally touched the edge of my mattress, I convinced myself it had all been a hallucination, a trick of a half-asleep mind. That was what I told myself. Later that morning, when I finally gathered the courage to look under the bed, there was nothing there. Just dust, a couple of old boxes, and the familiar emptiness I had known for years. No sign of anything living, no sign of anything at all. I almost laughed. Almost. But as I stood up, brushing the dust from my hands, I noticed something that made my blood run cold. In the thin layer of dust on the floor, directly beneath where my head had been, there were marks. Long, faint lines, as if fingers had been dragging slowly, backwards, into the darkness. And that was the moment I realized. Whatever was under my bed that night didn't leave. It was waiting. For part 2, subscribe to NightBlock Stories and don't fall asleep.